Okay, I'm back. And yeah, uh, revelation just flows through me. And so as I was taking a shower and shaving and all that, yeah, I got more ideas uh, to take down the church. I told you guys in the video that's doing fairly well, but not greatly well, the gloves are off. The church has crossed the line and they're going down. And so uh, I was going to do a video about the environment here in Utah, but watching Newsroom that I've been watching, if you've been paying attention to my other videos, they talked about a news story that they got fooled on about sarin gas. And they were talking about, if this is true, we're talking about war crimes against the Obama administration. And so I guess it turned out that they got played. I was locked up during all this, so I was unaware of the incident because of the abuse that the state of Utah, run by the Mormon Church, ordered by the Mormon Church, to lock me up. But yes, the environmental problems that we have in Utah is chemical warfare. Now, I don't want to do that video yet, but I had tons of clips, news clips from Utah News, about all of the chemical warfare attacks on Utahns. So, stay tuned. Instead, I don't need to throw a sucker punch. I don't need to throw a low blow. Like I told you guys in other videos, Alma, and I believe it's chapter 3, where the Amlicites mark themselves in the forehead and bring upon the curse upon themselves. And Mormon steps in and comments, notice, and I'm not quoting him, because that's an educational thing that I've been trying to get through to you guys that nobody's paying attention to. Our educational system is regurgitation learning, memorizing. If you can memorize, you're valedictorian, woo! And that's why I did the Tale of Two Brothers. He's the memorizer, I'm the intelligent one. And if you don't understand the difference between an intelligent person and a person who just knows how to memorize, then unbelievable. But yeah, that Mormons, when you're told by the church, just read and pray to find out it's true, they're asking you to memorize. The scripture mastery, they're asking you to memorize. They don't want you doing research. They don't want you doing studies. They don't want you to do anything beyond just memorizing. Because if you go beyond and actually gain intelligence, you'll learn the truth. And that's the video I'm talking about today, is that all of the presidents of the church, from Brigham Young to Nelson, are all ashamed of the gospel of Christ. All of them. And I originally was going to do a separate one for key presidents who have demonstrated their shame about the Mormon Church. And so, yeah, I mean, Mormons, if you don't get it, you have Brigham Young ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ by creating a new God. Heavenly Father is now Adam in the Mormon Church under Brigham Young. And he caused quite a stir. He split the church in half after murdering the majority of the people who chose to follow him. Yeah, church is true, isn't it, Mormons? And so it just boggles my mind how Mormons can just be so dumb, to be so blind, to be so foolish, to be so deceived. You gotta stop your hatred that you are taught by the presidents of the church who are ashamed of the gospel of Christ. And so I originally wanted to do the one about Benson. And I was going to do a redo of that because it's not getting as many views. This needs to get out, people. Benson was ashamed of the gospel of Christ. Because which scripture mastery from Ezekiel did you guys memorize? Stick of Joseph will replace the stick of Judah. Stick of Judah is the 5 books of Moses. So what then is the stick of Joseph? It's the book of Joseph. Go into your Book of Mormons. The brass plates. That's Freemasonic coding. Because I'm getting comments way back in the day when I did those videos that Mormons are saying, no, the stick is different than plates. Duh. The Book of Mormon is Freemasonic encoding. They use plates, and they specifically say, we wrote on plates because we don't want the plates to be valuable. It's the message on the plates that's the real treasure. So, yeah, I mean, yet there's confusion. Are they the gold plates? Or are they golden? Oh, they're copper, because that's what they used back then to print books on the print press. It's encoded messages. If you've never been involved in there's got to have been some serial like Tricks, which Silly Rabbit, Tricks are for prostitutes, not kids, but they'd have decoder rings or whatever, and you'd be able to do codes and all that stuff. And even as a kid, I tried to create a code, but in warfare they use codes to keep secrets from the enemy. And so that's what the Book of Mormon was written in code, so that the enemy who planned to destroy the United States would not immediately catch it. But at the same time, it was also, Christians who didn't catch it either, because they have the story about Jesus in there. He comes to the American Indians, and he shows them his body and the wounds in his body, and kids sit in his lap, and everybody's happy. And then peace and prosperity for 400 years, symbolism of the millennial reign of peace after the second coming. Pattern of the second coming, remember? Alright, so you have the Book of Mormon talking about the Ezekiel prophecy of the stick of Judah, being replaced by the stick of Joseph. And it's supposed to be a book. That's what sticks were, book. And so the Book of Mormon, instead of saying it's a book, they call it plates. Oh, I've got a sneeze coming on. I hope I don't sneeze during... Oh, no, I'm going to pause. Whew, okay. And so the Book of Mormon is talking about the coming forth of Egyptian records. Remember the brass plates? It's in Egyptian, isn't it? Go to Mosiah. were it not that our father Lehi knew Egyptian, he would never have been able to read the plates of brass. And we would not know how to read them either. And then you have Ammon talking to the one king and talking about, oh yeah, seers are translators. They can translate ancient Egyptian writing. And so Joseph Smith, he's called a seer and a translator. Every single president of the church is supposed to be able to translate. Excuse me. And so Benson gives the first presidency statement that I've done the video for that's not getting the attention it needs. Yeah, I'll bring it up. Waste a little time as I try to bring it up. People are in church, so this should not be busy. Okay, first presidency statement, King James. And there she blows. Alrighty, August 1992. And the presidency was Ezra Taft Benson, President. Gordon B. Hinckley, First Counselor. Thomas S. Monson, Second Counselor in the First Presidency. All well-known presidents of the church. And here we go. Many versions of the Bible are available today. Now, did I say that this is the first presidency statement on the King James Version of the Bible? Unfortunately, here he goes. He's either lying or he doesn't have the keys of translation and is unaware that 25 years ago, before August 1992, 25 years before then, they got back the book of Joseph. That is to replace the book of Judah, the 5 books of Moses. Do you want me to show you the document? I will show you the document. See, there's the Book of Abraham. And there's... Oh, yeah. Okay. So, yeah. Oh, never mind. Anyway. Book of Joseph, as Joseph Smith declared it. And there it is. All those cute little pictures and fun stuff. Joseph never translated it. Oliver Cowdery never translated it. Untranslated. So, hey, the presidents of the church have the key of translation, don't they? They can translate it, can't they? How long has it been now? Shall we do the math? Huh? They got it in 1835. Joseph Smith finished with a partial translation of the Book of Abraham in 1838, because, you know, that was when the leadership crisis occurred. And so 1835 was when, was it Michael Chandler? Whoever that guy was who was exploiting the Egyptian documents and mummies and stuff. And it's now 2019. 174 years. And we're on church president number 17. I thought we were on 19 or 18, but turns out, no, we're on 17. This is disgraceful, Mormons. This is scandal. And so, yes, the leaders of the church are ashamed of the gospel of Christ. They're ashamed of what Joseph Smith put forth in the Book of Mormon, put forth as doctrines of the church. Because right here, President Benson says, unfortunately, no original manuscripts of any portion of the Bible are available for comparison to determine the most accurate version. The Book of Mormon tells us the Egyptian records are the original manuscripts. The church has gotten back possession of the Book of Joseph, as Joseph Smith called it. The Ezekiel prophecy says Book of Joseph is to replace the Book of Judah. Do you see how damaging this is for the church? You guys need to know this. It's not getting near enough views. And since being ashamed of the gospel of Christ is working for Nelson about the two angels who he says appeared but didn't really appear, he couldn't even go forward and say, hey, they appeared to me and they told me specifically they want to be baptized and you guys should be baptized. No, he's ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ, and so he doesn't reveal that he actually saw them, if he actually saw them, because what we have now is Nelson pulling a scam job on that family whose daughters died under his knife in surgery. Hey, I've killed your daughters, but you can be together forever with them. Okay, so yeah, that's Benson's being ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I went over Nelson, and I went over Brigham Young. Kimball's turn. See, I want to do separate videos of all the prophets who've been ashamed. Do a series. An LDS Mormon prophet series who have all been ashamed of the gospel of Christ. The church isn't true, guys. You can't have leaders who are ashamed of the gospel of Christ leading what they call the Church of Christ. It just doesn't work out that way. And so Kimball, descendant of Heber C. Kimball. Who's Heber C. Kimball? Oh yeah, he was Brigham Young's bestest buddy growing up, even though he was older. And Heber C. Kimball became a Master Mason in the Scottish Rites Lodge. If you're not familiar with Freemasonry, there's the Grand Lodge in England and then the Scottish Rites. Scottish Rites eventually established a place in a homeland in England. And likewise in America, you have the two main ones, Scottish Rites and Grand Lodge Rites, popping up all over the United States. And then there are others. George Washington, for example, was a part of a different organization than those two main ones. And so, yeah, in the early colonization of America, Freemasonry was popping up everywhere. And so, yes, Western New York was a religious fervor for Freemasonry. Not Christianity, not quite. There was eventually, like a year or two after Joseph Smith claims there was the religious movement. That happened a year or two later, and it was further south than Palmyra. But who cares? Doesn't matter. The real reason why the Smith family moved to Western New York and why the Youngs and the Kimballs moved to Western New York was because of the rise of new temples of Freemasonry being built. And then in 1826, William Morgan happened onto the scene. But I've already talked about this. We're talking about the Kimball cover-up. how President Gordon or Spencer W. Kimball was ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. But yeah, I go over this in a couple of different videos, but the main one is about the murder of Joseph Smith in Carthage jail. I point out the key evidences showing pictures of the scene. It is President Spencer W. Kimball, member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, whom Joseph Smith supposedly founded, as is claimed by all these church prophets here in the Utah Valley now. When you have a cold case where you don't know who committed the crime, do you destroy the evidence? No. No. Destroying evidence of crime is a crime in and of itself. And so, why then would it, what logic would there be for the organization of whom their founder was murdered, and it's now a cold case because the true murderers were never taken to court, they were never punished, so they never served time or were executed for the high crime of murder, assassination. The Carthage jail is a cold case crime scene. You want to not touch anything there. You don't want to cover up the bullet holes. You don't want to wipe out the blood stains on the floor. You don't want to replace the window, because that would be a crime. This is a cold case that was never solved. The murder of Joseph and Hiram was never solved. The two guys who were shot by Joseph Smith, they went on trial. They were acquitted. It wasn't them who murdered Joseph and Hiram. So who did? I went over it in the video. And so you'll understand why the church is covering up the cold case crime scene. And Kimball, being a descendant of Heber C. Kimball, bestest buddies with Brigham Young, both of whose families were involved in the Scottish Rites Freemasonry, not the Grand Lodge Freemasonry of Joseph Smith Sr. and Hiram Smith. They were both members of the Grand Lodge Freemasonry. Now, William Morgan sounds a little more interesting, doesn't it? Sounds like you want to go back and look at my videos, don't you? So yes, Kimball covers up the crime scene. Covers up the walls. New wall is placed in front of it. Replaces the window. Removes the plaque glass case that said, "Here lies the blood of Joseph Smith," or blood, whatever that says. Gone. They tried to wash it off. And I showed the picture that had to have an arrow pointing to where the blood was. You can still see it because it's a discoloration of the wood. The blood, mother, the blood. Psycho reference. And so, yes, President Spencer W. Kimball, who claims to have Joseph Smith as the founder, whose cold case murder was never solved, covers up the crime scene destroys the evidence. I belong to the Church of Jesus Christ. Guys, the church is bad to the bone. Bad. I can't really roll my R's in Spanish, which is another reason why I had to take French rather than Spanish. Not only is it a more complex language, it's also difficult to pronounce. I can't roll my R's. And so, so Mormons, are you getting it yet? Do you not understand? We were born in the wrong church. We were born into an apostate church, an antichrist church. A church of hypocrisy, a church of crimes, a church of corruption, a church of war crimes, a church of human rights violators. War crimes is the worst, because it's first crimes, then human rights violations, and then war crimes in severity. So yeah, I'll be getting to the LDS war crimes here soon enough. But I want to finish Newsroom. There's only 6 episodes in season 3, in the final season, and I think I'm on 2 now. I think I watched 1 earlier. It's episode 1. Okay, so Mormons, they're trying to twist it on you. As the video I did earlier this morning about the Mormon girl who's in violation of standards of the church, naughty naughty, you know, she wants Mormons to be proud, not ashamed of the gospel of Christ. She doesn't realize that what the church is doing is making members submit to the church over Christ. You know, yes, we have Christ in the middle name of our church, and Christ is in the Book of Mormon, even though it's a Freemasonic symbolism, pattern for the second coming, which is not really the second coming. It's actually the first coming of the Son of the... Gotta watch my videos, guys. Got to watch my videos. So yeah, I gave up on my website trying to do church stuff. They're only interested in the scandals in government on my website. But here on YouTube, scandals of the LDS Church are a hot item. And so that was what I wanted to do, was find out how to generate more viewers on YouTube. I already figured it out on my website. I'm fine there, you know. So here, I like making videos rather than typing out blogs and putting cool little pictures and GIFs and videos and that are only a couple minutes because the site can't handle a full 30-minute upload. And audio. Get to put audio on there. That's cool. So yeah. So I can have All Hell's Breaking Loose playing with the blog, so that people can listen to the music while they read my blog. Great stuff. Okay, so If only I could do that here on YouTube. Oh, oh. You know, everybody's all paranoid here on YouTube about copyright violation. Nobody understands what real copyright laws involve. And so, yeah, entertainment media wants to change the copyright laws so that they can violate our rights. Even the news tries to keep their news a secret so that nobody else can violate their copyright laws. They just don't get it. And maybe they do actually get it. I think they do. They're purposely trying to destroy our Constitution and our rights. So, alrighty. Thus the church too. They're ashamed of the gospel of Christ and are trying to control the public on the information about the church. They do not like bad press, and they want it censored any way they can, because they're being destroyed. I did the video on the stats of the church, and it's getting close to 1,000. It's slowing down now. So that's kind of disappointing, because that's the facts and evidence, Mormons, from the church. And this, Benson, he said it. And so, yeah, because the video, I may do separate videos. The longer you guys don't leave, the more videos I'm going to have to do to continue to remind you that the church is false. It's a fraud. We were all defrauded. So, we'll see how long it takes, because the church has to go down. They crossed the line with me. They took my kids away. They aided and abetted the enemy wife. Treason! They had me removed from society, locked away, without a trial, without rights, for 6 years. And they're still trying now. They're coming after me. They knew that I would try to get off the drugs they forced me on. They knew that was coming. Did they honestly think that they controlled me now, that I'm going to submit to their will? And they did not read the book I gave to the government and the church that got me arrested in the first place, to be removed. And so here I am. Because of the way things are, I got the technologies to go public. Church is going down. So, yeah, it's too late for the government. We're already under Trumpism, which is authoritarianism. We are worse than Nazi Germany. We're using gas on women and children at the border. We're locking them in concentration tent camps at the border. We're doing drug experimentations on those kids at the border by psychiatrists. Forced medication on kids who are distraught because they've been separated from their parents. And because nobody can handle the kids in that distraught condition, they force medicate them. And I've got a video of a doctor who comes right out and says that psychotropic drugs are murdering those who take them. And he doesn't want to blame the psychiatrists. He goes right to the pharmaceutical companies. You know, the ones that are in trouble for opioid addiction. Because the pharmaceutical companies are telling the psychiatrists about their drug. So they come out with a new drug, say, hey, we got this new drug, it works for this diagnosis that you guys create. So we want you to do human experimentations, war crimes, on your patients who take this. So switch them out of whatever drug they're taking and go to this one now, so that we get paid for it through the payment of the drug use, and then we'll slip you a little something on the side for your loyalty. Yeah, that's how bad things are, guys. These are war crimes. So I'll get to that shortly, I guess. But I really want to get to newsroom. I'll just finish it off. Just so that you know, church is guilty of war crimes. And they don't have to declare war. The United States doesn't have to declare war on them. It's when you attack human beings with chemical warfare, with drugs. That's a war crime. When you torture people by removing them from society without due process, that's a war crime. That's why nobody in Utah will handle my case. They don't want to touch it because they're all in on it. The defense, prosecution, legislature, executive, judiciary, they're all in on it. We're at war. The state of Utah has been warring against its own people, committing war crimes, violating the Constitution and our rights. The other video I did, I gave you an example. Police, what are they doing patrolling our streets? Why are they giving out tickets? Why do I get put in the prosecution side when I want to argue an accusation by a police officer who wrote me a ticket? Why does he then get the court-appointed police lawyer? Why is there no jury of peers? Why do 98% of all criminal cases never make it to trial? Yeah, Utah statistics are higher than the national average of 95%. We are looking at a major collapse crisis. So, yeah, there's the theme song for this video. I wonder if anybody's even going to those links. I think you guys are, because the recommended views, as I pointed out in the other one. Did I forget? I wonder if I did. Anyway. I did. I put a different picture instead. Okay. All right. So, yeah. So, yeah, I've got the theme song now, and I probably should write it down. Da, 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 da. I had the opportunity to watch that on my mission, but I didn't take advantage of it because my mission companion didn't want to. He wanted to watch the Phantom a second time, and then we saw Fiddler. So yeah, we had a list of plays that we were allowed to watch as missionaries. And we had a list of songs that we were allowed to listen to as missionaries. So, yeah. We weren't allowed to go to the movie theaters. But we were allowed to listen to certain music and to watch certain plays. So the ones with the naked women dancing on stage, we weren't allowed to watch those. But Fiddler, Phantom, and Les Miserables, we were able to watch. Alrighty, here I come, Mormons. Let's get to saving and uploading.